Yeah, we definitely want to see what's going on there. I mean, Harrison Ford would be terrified of snakes at this moment, but Laura's not scared of snakes.
No, she doesn't care. Although she probably needs a light.
I mean, I don't know the archaeology of the area, but all this kind of screams tomb to me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Syria. Oh, I just climbed back out. I'll go back in.
Change your mind.
Yeah. So I was like, that's what I would have done in real life. I would have took one look in there and been like, nope. Not gonna do that. I know how this ends.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to Archaeology Arcade, the online program of the Florida Public Archaeology Network. I'm Mike out of FPAN's Coordinating Center in Pensacola, Florida. And today, as always, I am joined by my colleague, Tristan, who is coming in from Tallahassee. Tristan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. This time I get to watch you fail some QuickTime events.
Well, don't get ahead of yourself. I may not fail this time. I've done a little bit of practicing since the last game we played, which was Far Cry. But today, joining us, we have a special guest from New South Associates, archaeologist Anne Dorland. Anne, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me today.
Well, we're so glad that you could join us to play this game, The Rise of the Tomb Raider. Tristan and I have played a couple of the Tomb Raider games in the past. We played the Tomb Raider reboot. We've also played Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which I believe actually comes after this game. But this game came out in 2015. And, you know, it's going to basically follow the life of our protagonist. And I guess she's sort of an archaeologist, but, you know, kind of questionably.
She probably says she is.
He thinks she is anyways, but Lara Croft. It says that in this game, here's a brief synopsis. It says, this story follows Lara Croft as she ventures into Siberia in search of the legendary city of Kazets. Well, I don't know if I said that right. While battling the paramilitary organization Trinity, which intends to uncover the city's promise of immortality. Laura must traverse the environment and combat enemies with firearms and stealth as she explores semi-open hubs. In these hubs, she can raid challenge tombs to great. I guess that's why she's called Tomb Raider, right? Challenge tombs to unlock new rewards, complete side missions, and scavenge for resources which can be used to craft useful materials. And so, yeah, so this should be another interesting Tomb Raider game. So, Anne, you're based out of Athens, Georgia, and you work for New South Associates. Can you tell me what New South Associates is and what do you guys do?
Okay, so New South Associates is a cultural resource management firm specializing not only in archaeology, but also in history. And we have a ground penetrating radar program, as well as a mortuary program. We have a zooarchaeologist. We have a lot of great specialists at New South. We do architectural history. So we're kind of all over the map in what we provide and our services. And, you know, we pride ourselves in really excelling at community engagement. And, you know, our mission is to, you know, honor the past while, you know, bridging the gap between the past and the future to better inform and provide multiple perspectives. And I know that we're going to talk a little bit today about you know, the female perspective with Lara and everything. So we are a woman-owned company, and anyway, that's what we do.
That's awesome. And so, what is your current role with New South?
New South, I am the education program manager, and I'm also an archaeologist. So I direct field projects and author reports, and I also develop and manage our education programming.
So basically, you are incredibly busy all the time.
Yes. I am. I wear many hats and I do a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, like I said, we're really glad that you could join us today. And we were looking earlier, we were talking about, I guess this is Lara Croft's office. And it's really interesting to kind of look around and see what she has on the wall. It looks like she's trying to solve something, immortality. Tristan, I think you mentioned the skull up here on the bookcase.
Like any good archaeologist doesn't have.
Right. Right. Yeah. So that's questionable. You know,
I'm sure it's plaster.
I would hope so. I would definitely hope so.
Just for her comparative collection, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Right, because that's what she's worried about. She's not worried about the the treasure and the immortality or anything like that. It looks like she also has some climbing equipment down here. Now, I really hope that's paint, not blood, on these. What do you call these, Tristan? You're from the
I would
West.
just call them climbing hooks, but I don't know if that's the right term at all.
Okay, have either of you ever had to use climbing hooks?
No.
No.
Or a bow, as I see in the far right side there.
Right, yeah, I see the bow here. She's got a lot of boxes, so it looks like she's probably moved in like 10 years ago. She still hasn't unpacked
She's
stuff.
probably
She's
never
like,
actually there. She doesn't.
Like, I'm not going to be here long, and then she's there forever.
She doesn't strike me as the kind of archaeologist that writes reports.
That's true.
Are those artifact boxes? I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, they just like cardboard boxes, some files down here. Very disorganized, but it's all right. I mean, this looks kind of like my office, so without the skull and the bow and arrow.
The weapons.
And the weapons, and so it's a good thing to bring up. So weapons. So this game is rated mature. So there is, based on our previous experience with Tomb Raider games, there is blood, there is gore sometimes. And there is also graphic language. So if any of those things bother you, you might not want to continue watching it.
When Mike fails, there is often a very gruesome death scene, so beware of that.
Yeah, and with these hooks, I'm willing to bet there's maybe some climbing and probably some falling. So,
yes.
Let's go ahead. Let's start a new game. I haven't played this game yet. I looked at the first cutscene just to make sure it worked, but I haven't actually played this yet. So this is all new. All right. Overwrite, yes. Overwrite, because I'm not anywhere. Oh, combat difficulty. And we'll let you decide. Should we make it easy or hard?
Oh, I have never played this before, so I don't think I should necessarily be deciding. Maybe we'll go somewhere in the middle, although that might be a bad decision. We might should go the easy.
As much as I want to see you suffer, Mike, I feel like Tomb Raider Adventure is probably what we should go with.
Tomb Raider Adventure.
Or Adventure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. I've been embarrassed enough the last couple of times we played.
Thank you.
Barbara says most archaeologists' offices are disorganized. Don't lie. We are a messy people. Which
she's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong. Can you guys hear that? Okay.
A little quiet.
Yeah. Maybe I can. Whoops. What did I do? Oh, I skipped it. My bad. Oh, well, who cares?
All right, so I'm sure that was important exposition.
Yeah, I think on the wall it said Siberia, so I think that's where we're at. All right, we're climbing. Okay, so that wasn't blood. That was just paint.
Ah.
Wow.
I think I've surveyed there.
So obviously these are, not ideal conditions to be doing anything.
Right.
Really, but what's the worst, most difficult, I guess, conditions that you've had to work in, Anne?
Most difficult conditions. Well, I have worked in the snow, and it is not easy to find artifacts or screen in snow, and I don't recommend it. And I've worked in the Everglades, and those are like polar opposites, and the Everglades were extremely challenging as well. So those are probably the two most extreme environments. The winter of, northern Tennessee, southern Kentucky, it doesn't sound like it would be bad, but it can be. And then the Everglades, for sure, pretty much anytime you go.
Right, yeah. So what were you doing in Tennessee? What kind of work were you doing out there?
It was for Fort Campbell. So I was there doing a large survey, a little bit of testing at Fort Campbell. And so we were covering really big areas, and the winters are kind of notoriously rough there. And yes, it was a lot of days of trekking through the snow, and not quite like this,
yeah.
but definitely some tough conditions for digging shovel test and screening to find artifacts. But wool gloves were my friend.
Oh, so you didn't have to fall. That's good. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
Tristan,
there's the first one already.
That's the end of me. Yeah, that's the end of me. Yeah. Well, now I know to press E.
Yeah, if I'd let anyone lead me up here, I probably would have noped out as soon as that cliff fell away under my feet, right?
Right.
Before this one,
Okay.
even.
Okay, I did
Hey,
it.
you did it.
Okay, I pressed E. Okay, I can move along the edges like this. Hold and press space to jump, okay? And up. Okay, I almost fell.
Yeah, you did.
I guess I just have to go this way.
Yeah.
Why is it too dangerous to go up that way?
It's ice, but you have picks that could,
Oh, I think I have to just jump. I have to jump up now. And you mentioned you were in the Everglades. What kind of work were you guys doing out there at the time?
I was doing a survey there. We were basically going from, little tree hammock to tree hammock, finding archaeological remains, in these little islands essentially. And the hardest part was really just getting to those islands. And it's kind of interesting out in the Everglades. It never really gets above your waist level. All the water's pretty much waist deep. So it was, trekking through waist deep water, almost to your backpack, and then, seeing water moccasins and alligators and black bears and everything. And, we're not out there with guns or anything like that. It's pretty remote. So it's just a little daunting. And of course the mosquitoes are absolutely terrible and all of that, but found some really interesting sites out there. Yeah, I mean, the archaeology is cool. You gotta deal with the wildlife.
Right. Yeah. And I guess, in this game, obviously we have special equipment to kind of deal with these conditions, but and you mentioned having to wait around in the Everglades. What kind of special equipment did you all have to bring out there, if any?
Honestly, not very much. We used a kayak once to get across a deep channel, but other than that, I was in all of my pretty much standard gear. Oh, bye.
That was a terrible decision. Oh, just standard stuff.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I mean, wouldn't it have been nice to have an airboat and maybe, a rifle or something? That felt a lot better, but
yeah. So you guys didn't even have an airboat out there in the Everglades?
Yeah, no airboat, nothing. We were just on foot, I just stopped, dump, whenever I got to dry land, dump out the water from my shoes, put them back on, keep going.
Yeah. Being wet all day is the worst.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know which one would be. So what, based on your experience, you said you've worked in the snow. Obviously, I could imagine, since, of course, we're in Florida, so it's, got to be hot. What do you prefer, cold or hot conditions?
Oh, hot. I'm not a cold weather person. It's way too easy for me to get sick. I'd rather be miserably hot.
Right. So what do you guys think I should try to jump across to him? Is that what
I think it's what you're supposed to do?
Okay.
It looks like it. Yeah, it can work.
Oh, right.
Oh.
I don't know if I would have trusted that guy to catch me.
No, that's OSHA approved right there.
Poor Lara.
Ribs are broken.
They did not do the 10-hour OSHA training.
No.
And so, Anne, how did you get into archaeology? Like, what made you interested in it? And then how did you find yourself actually working in the field?
I kind of love this question because I did not dream of being an archaeologist from the time I was a kid, and didn't even really know that it interested me or that's what I wanted to do. But I kind of, as soon as I realized what anthropology was, I realized I was completely an anthropologist, through and through. That's how I think. That's how I approach the world. It's just, the holistic perspective and the way that archaeologists frame things and think about things. That is absolutely who I am. And then I took a field school in college and just absolutely fell in love with the whole experience of being able to do science outdoors, to uncover history and learn about the past. And just I have a very exploratory personality, and it so suits that. And then the community engagement part, being able to do all of that, really enjoy it and love every piece of it, and then also be able to connect communities with their past in a meaningful way. I can't imagine doing anything else.
Right.
It's nice to meet another archaeologist who didn't always want to be an archaeologist, because sometimes you talk to our peers and it's like, oh yes, I want to do it since I was 7 or whatever.
Right. Or people like, I know some people who their parents were archaeologists, you
Uh-huh.
know, their diapers were changed in back dirt piles and all that.
Yeah.
And like that's just, you know, they always knew about it. But you know, my family is in agriculture and are business people, and you know, I didn't know anything about this world. And then I had an amazing professor at Auburn where I got my undergrad, and he was a Vietnam War vet. His name was John Cottier. He was just the coolest guy. He could speak, you know, in a Mayan dialect, and he was just super passionate about being outside and learning about the past. And you know, it was just so great. Once I met archaeologists, I knew I'd met my people.
Yeah.
And what you mentioned working with the communities, what made you, because I think a lot of archaeologists that I know anyway, they you know, they enjoy the field work. I guess they enjoy, you know, climbing up mountains and stuff like that. But how about the community engagement? What made you, what opened your eyes to that, I guess? Because it's not something I think that a lot of people know about in terms
I
of
agree
archaeology.
with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something for me that a lot of it is, again, just kind of who I am. I have a desire to really find meaning in my work. And to me, meaning is helping people. And if archaeology doesn't have an altruistic aspect to it, you know, if there's not that compassionate element of helping people, I don't really find as much value in it. I don't think it's as important.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're just being esoteric and doing our jobs and writing reports and just sharing what we learn with a small group of people, it's far less exciting and far less important to me. Um, so, and I love that I found New South because they value community engagement as much as I do, and understand that what we do should go beyond just the very small archaeological community that we live in.
Yeah, I think that's so important too, because it gets away from that idea that it's just all about finding the things. Like in this game, it's all based on, you know, finding the artifact for whatever reason. Whereas really archaeology is part of, you know, it's a sub-discipline of, or subfield of anthropology, which is really interested in, you know, the human story more
Right.
broadly.
Right.
So that's always refreshing to hear. So in terms of New South Associates, you know, doing public engagement, what sort of things do you guys do to engage the different communities?
We do a lot of different projects, both or community engagement programming, both part of our regular contracts, part of our projects, and outside of our projects. So we use, you know, overhead. We use money that we make from our projects and invest it in helping communities and uplifting communities. So, oh man, Laura's suffering there.
Yeah.
I thought I just killed us again, but apparently that was supposed to happen.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So, like this year, we always do an Archaeology Day event, which is a big part of how we give back to our local communities. And the past 2 years, we created into a virtual event, and we created an entire website that allows people to explore the top topics related to archaeology anytime they want. And it basically takes you through a bunch of digital exhibits. You can learn about the archaeologist toolkit, and you can learn about zooarchaeology and archaeobotany and you know, mortuary archaeology. You can learn about specific types of artifacts like pottery, and so we love creating avenues for the public to be able to engage in what we do, and you know,
Yeah,
take
that's all.
advantage of the amazing resources that we have. So that's one of the things. And then we do all kinds of we write lesson plans for teachers in classrooms as part of projects. We created a children's book called The Tell Me Tree, and there's a whole curriculum that's, you know, standard aligned that goes with that book. We create, you know, brochures for, you know, public libraries to have to educate the community about sites near them that we've, helped to excavate. So there's all different types of things that we have done.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so are these like available? You said they're available online to.
Yes. Yeah.
Very difficult. This game's very hard. Yeah. So what I was gonna say is whenever we put this up on our YouTube channel, if you send me those links, I'll put those on there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll send links to our Portal to the Past website, which is our virtual Archaeology Day event, which is really, it has a lot of standard. That was great.
This game is very intense.
No kidding. I did not realize. Oh my gosh. Yes, I'll send you those links for sure.
Well, there you go.
Maybe was that supposed to happen?
No, you're supposed to dodge it.
Well, I'm trying my hardest. Okay, I know what to do here. I could maybe. Okay, I guess I'll just move to the left. Oh wait,
right.
No, right.
To the right.
Okay.
Oh,
Dodge
that. So that's a lot of stuff you guys do. How many people do you have working on the public outreach aspect?
Well, specifically just on public outreach, I am really I am the only person with like an education title, although we do have some other educators at New South, some people who have worked in the classroom, and support me in my role. And then we have a lot of people with history degrees. So we do have some people who specialize in communicating archaeology and history to the public. But we are currently growing our we have a vision for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So it's going to keep going upward and onward, but we don't have, really, I'm the only person who has a title in education.
So you're the only one that's kind of dedicated specifically to it? Other people have other jobs that they kind of dip in when they need to? Is that how I understand it then?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many other CRM companies have as much, public outreach that you guys do? I mean, it's not something that I normally see, anyways. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's more common than I'm thinking.
I think it is relatively uncommon. I don't want to, speak to that and, completely. I don't know for sure. I know that Search does a really good job. I just did a Project Archaeology program in Montana, and there was a Search employee there. He was the only other person representing a CRM firm, and so he was telling me about some of their programming, and they sound like they put a lot of resources into education as well. I was impressed, and I'm sure there's some other firms that do too. And the larger the firm, the more capability you have for that level of specialization, and you have more resources to dedicate to it. But New South has always made it a priority, and it's definitely one of the reasons I came to New South.
Yeah, it's really incredible, and I know you guys have done that before. That's one of the reasons why I thought you'd be great for this. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing all the online stuff you have. I don't know if I've seen all of it yet. It'll be really cool to check that out. And like I said, I'll put that link up for other people. And then also, with that said, if anybody's out there joining us on Twitch right now, if you have any questions or comments for any of us, feel free to put that in the stream chat, and we'll get to it as soon as we can, as soon as I'm not falling off a cliff, which hopefully.
Well, on that note, there's a comment from Beak Archaeology. Lots of people I know started off in vet school and somehow came around to archaeology or archaeologists and leave to become nurses. I've always wanted to know why that is and what the connection there is. I didn't know about the vet school thing. I've known several people to leave and become nurses, though. Have you observed any of that, Anne?
Oh, that's interesting. No, I don't know that I'm familiar with anyone who has become a veterinarian after doing archaeology, but it doesn't really surprise me, I guess, because so many of us love wildlife and animals. So that, I guess I can see that. And there's a science aspect to that for sure.
Sure.
I definitely know people who have, yeah, I think I've known maybe a couple of people who have become nurses, but it's kind of all over the map what people go to with
Hmm.
archaeology, in my experience.
So do you guys think we're in her apartment? Is that where we're at? Why is she sneaking around her own apartment?
Someone following her.
There was a message that I think maybe creeped her out or something.
Okay, yeah.
Lara, your father was unwell.
So she's doing a lot of research. I guess that's another thing people don't think about a lot is research in archaeology. And can you talk a little bit about that process and just in archaeology in general? How much research goes on before you go and excavate?
Sure, absolutely. So the background research that we do before we even go out into the field is a really important part of the process that many folks don't realize about. So some of the things that we research include like maps, historic maps of an area to see if there are any historic structures that may have been present at one time. We look at maps to look at the topography to see where the waterways are and try to understand where our high probability areas are or where we are most likely to find archaeological sites. So there's some different levels of research that we'll do before we go out. And then there's a lot of research that we do after field work is done to learn more about the sites that we identify. And there are a lot of different ways you can do research. One of the things that you'll do is study all of the similar sites in the region to try to contextualize your site and understand how important it is. And you'll also do all other kinds of research. You'll study the environment. You'll try to understand how the site was formed. And you'll sometimes do some really specialized research based on the plants that may be found and trying to reconstruct their past environment and what they were eating. And there's all different avenues for research depending specifically on your research questions. What do you want to learn about from the site and what can you learn about from the site? Those questions really drive your research.
Yeah, and you had mentioned studying maps. I noticed on she should have researched the danger of going to this area before venturing there.
Yeah.
But I noticed on the map
health and safety plans for a reason.
Oh no, we lost our driver. Oh, she always is getting into these very dangerous situations.
Yeah.
But at least she brought her GPS device. That's something that archaeologists use a lot, right?
Yeah.
GPS.
Yeah. Man, that changed so much.
Yeah.
Right.
That's always changing. We're starting to use a new piece of equipment, a couple of new pieces of equipment in the past year. So it's just always changing with the technology.
Yeah. I had to hand map a site once, compass map, and that made me appreciate GPSs because that is a long process.
Yes, it is. Done correctly, they can be very accurate, though.
Yes, for sure,
Yeah.
but they often weren't.
Right.
I think any archaeologist probably experienced this. We're on a project looking for a site, and it's supposed to be a site here, and we end up finding it entirely somewhere else just because of mapping issues and such. And that site was usually, I think, recorded pre-GPS, so they're using off of landmarkers that sometimes disappear on us, or they made a mistake, and it throws the whole thing off. So it is kind of an adventure sometimes to find these things.
Well, it looks like she lost her GPS device.
Yeah, she didn't grab it out of the truck.
Yeah, she just has a radio and a cassette recorder, I guess.
And a gun.
You should have brought a compass. You didn't really need a compass.
What do y'all think about her tank top there? I don't know. I might be wanting to wear long sleeves and
Yeah, I don't know about, I guess it's probably hot because we're in Syria, but I don't know. I don't know if that's the most appropriate thing, but then again, who am I to tell her what to wear? You know what I mean?
I'm just saying,
Skin health is a concern.
Yeah, I think I'd want a long sleeve shirt at least as an option.
Yeah,
I totally agree. I was out earlier this summer. I was out west in Arizona, and it was hot and those rocks are very sharp, but that heat would just, and then the sun would just burn you really badly. So I think she probably, if she didn't bring a long sleeve shirt, I hope she has sunscreen.
Yes,
right.
That's really important.
It was probably in the truck too.
Yeah, but at least she has boots on. Like I know some of the other Lara Croft games, like she's wearing like really short shorts. Yeah, I feel like that's probably not the best options for at least situations like this.
Yeah, long pants is a must. At least she's not wearing shorts.
Pretty important. Yeah, thorns and brush and who knows what else.
I saw a scorpion when we were first driving the truck. So
that was intense. And
the other thing I would be very cautious of climbing up any canyon is snakes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
But I guess she's not too worried about that right now.
I wonder what kind of snakes they have out there.
Yeah, actually.
That's a good question. Yeah, I'm not sure in Syria. She's tired. So of course, Lara Croft is a female heroine and protagonist, and I think maybe Indiana Jones has really made people think that most archaeologists are men, but I think especially over the last few decades at least, that has changed to a large degree. Can you talk about your experience being a female working in a field that at least people assume is a kind of like male dominated field?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess I probably had the same misconception when I entered archaeology. I thought, mostly at least the field work was done by men, and women generally didn't do that so much. But as I entered the field, I met a lot of really amazing women archaeologists, and I saw how great they were at their job. And I realized that, women have a lot of wonderful assets that allow them to excel in archaeology. Women can be really excellent at providing the female perspective and interpreting the human past. I think that it's really important to have archaeologists from different backgrounds and different genders, and to provide those varied perspectives. And also, I think that women and men work really well together on a team. I really like working on a team that has both men and women, because you get sort of slightly different skill sets, and it seems to work really well. So but yeah, I will say when I first started out in archaeology, I think most of the field crews I was on, it would be maybe at least 70% males.
Oh, wow.
That was my kind of experience. And then, I feel like over the last 10 years, even, there have been more and more women, and especially in like a field director position, and at the higher level, there's quite a few women, especially at New South. There's, many women who work as principal investigators and field directors, and, many of them are really amazing. So, yeah.
And then
great to see.
Yeah. And another thing that we can maybe talk about here is, this is obviously an archaeological site in a cliff.
Yes.
And then I don't know if you guys noticed, but when I walked over to this box, let me walk over it carefully so I don't fall over the ledge. It says press E to loot.
To
loot. So can we talk? Let's maybe spend some time talking about what if you were out in the field and you came across a site like this, what would be the first step? Like, what would we do? I would assume we would probably in the game we'll loot this, just because I feel like there's probably something important in there. But in real life, what would be the proper protocol for discovering a site?
Well, there's a lot more documentation than she is even capable of doing, because she doesn't have anything to document with.
She has her tape recorder. She can just talk into the tape recorder.
Yeah.
Everything.
I mean, you would map, you would draw a map, of course. You would take lots of photographs. I don't think she has a camera. You would, you take lots of measurements of things. You'd walk around the entire area to try to find the limits of the site. It doesn't look like you could dig here, so you'd really just be walking around and observing and seeing these nice artifacts, that pot over to the right. These are things you would put on your map, and you try to find the extent of it, and that would really be the first step. What do y'all think?
You certainly wouldn't collect anything without a permit first.
Right.
No, absolutely.
Which she certainly doesn't have. Yeah.
Yeah. She probably does not have a permit.
I don't think she does.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was like a military helicopter, so I think they're trying to tell her to like stay away from this area. But also, how often do you find pots like this whole, just like laying around?
I have never.
Same, never seen one.
Yeah, usually they're broken up. They're they're not whole pots. They're broken up like this. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna open this. Although before I do that, let's just make it clear that if you ever visit an archaeological site, you should not loot the site.
Right.
You should not pick things up. But I'm going to do that just because this is a game and it's Lara Croft. I feel like we have to.
A religious icon.
Oh, okay.
Held and inlaid with gems.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Byzantine, perhaps 10th century.
And it's just been sitting out there all that time. No one's
in a little case, just like that on the side.
Yeah, just waiting for Lara.
Just like real life.
Wow. Okay, yeah, Gilded Cross. What's the coolest thing you've ever found? Have you ever found a Gilded Cross?
I have never found a Gilded Cross.
You've never found a Gilded Cross? It's like the first thing I found when I.
Right, I know. You probably found like 30, but
yeah.
I just keep missing them,
Yeah, right. All right. Well, Gilded Cross. I'm not sure what Maybe it's going to be like a key to something. I'm sure we'll need that later. All right, now I'm going to walk up here, and I guess we can maybe enter this. Let's try to enter.
Yeah, we definitely want to see what's going on there. I mean, Harrison Ford would be terrified of snakes at this moment, but Laura's not scared of snakes.
No, she doesn't care. Although she probably needs a light.
I mean, I don't know the archaeology of the area, but all this kind of screams tomb to me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Syria. Oh, I just climbed back out. I'll go back in.
Change your mind.
Yeah. So I was like, that's what I would have done in real life. I would have took one look in there and been like, nope. Not gonna do that. I know how this ends.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, one thing that has been going on in Syria the last few years that has been really tragic is the destruction of archaeological sites because of terrorism, ISIS. There's been a lot of that going on, unfortunately, and then also looting of Middle Eastern artifacts and selling them on the black market. I know just recently, was it Hobby Lobby, Tristan?
Hobby Lobby, yeah.
Yeah, can you give a little context for that? What happened with that?
They were trying to create a Bible museum or something, and bought a bunch of artifacts against the archaeologist's advice. They hired this archaeologist to advise them on this very thing, and they were advised not to, and they did anyway. And it turned out they were all stolen from, I think, Iraq, or many of them were. And we're talking like thousands of artifacts. It's just kind of tragic. So yeah, it's a big problem out there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, one of the, from what I remember from the article, because there was it made the news like a week or two ago. It was recent, but one of them was like a Babylonian tablet that was one of the earliest stories of Gilgamesh.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, people think the value's in the thing. Of course, this is something I always harp on about, but think about if we had found it in place and it could have told us about that place and the people who were in that place too. And now we'll never have that context for the item, for the tablet. So
right,
that's why it's a big problem. Laura, put that cross back.
Yeah, right. I like how she took the cross, but like none of this other amazing stuff.
Yeah,
it's good that she's leaving it.
What was that picture about?
Yes, interesting. It looks like This is a crucifixion of probably Jesus, I'm guessing.
It doesn't look like a crucifixion to me.
Or, you know, after he was crucified, they brought his. Oh, it's. Oh, okay. You were right, Tristan.
Is it? I wonder if it's Lazarus or something.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna just explore around this cave. So far, you know, other than her stealing that cross, at least she's not like totally destroying the site like she normally does.
Yet, normally, yeah, she would cause this whole place to collapse.
It looks like there's some shields.
Some picks.
Picks, yeah.
Oh, that's a crossbow.
Crossbow. Oh, yeah, it's a crossbow bolt.
Interesting that they had wood survive in this climate. That probably would work that way.
Yeah, I know out in at least the southwestern United States, like at Chaco Canyon, there's still like wood within some of the structures that are still standing. So, if the conditions are just right, if it's dry enough, it's possible.
Occasionally, they'll find like bows and things cached in a little cave and stuff too that can be hundreds to thousands of years, which is very cool.
Have either of you two ever had to do any work in caves?
I have not. Have you, Tristan?
No. I know of folks who have, but no more than just like looking as kind of a precursor to doing some real work, I guess. But so no, not really.
I've done rock shelters, but not caves.
Yeah. Where did you do rock shelters?
I did a rock shelter in it was kind of near Birmingham, Alabama, a little bit north of Birmingham.
Okay. Oh, cool.
There was a really neat rock shelter site there. Yes. And those are pretty amazing. Just caves to me are so fascinating because of, especially here in the Southeast where we don't have very good preservation, you do get amazing preservation in caves. So they're really exciting in that sense.
Recent discovery involving caves, Remy Goujon, last time we had him on, he talked about this. They're doing some work with some of the paintings they see in caves, and they've been finding that in flickering firelight or simulated flickering firelight, the paintings on the walls were sometimes drawn to kind of give a sense of motion to them, as though like a ancient kind of cinema almost or something.
I've heard that before. That's so interesting.
It is really cool. I'll be curious to see what comes of it too, because this is, I think pretty preliminary stuff, but let's see if that holds up. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. Well, it looks like I have to destroy part of the site.
Yes.
So, I think she's going to kick that wall in. I'm just going to do it.
Here we go.
She's like, all right, I'm just going to push this out. Oh, there you go. Let's knock a piece of it out.
Just punch it.
Oh, she's going to use that. Okay. I like how they say interact.
Yeah, interact.
Well, I'm sorry.
Wow, and those rocks just crumbled.
Yeah.
Apologize to the people of Syria for destroying their cultural heritage.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is cool.
Yeah.
It looks sort of like it's supposed to be Petra, in Jordan.
Looks a bit similar, doesn't it?
Except
waterfalls.
I don't think they have a waterfall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's no waterfall. All right, so it said something about my special ability to focus on things.
Your archaeology sense.
Yeah. So do you guys have any special archaeology abilities, like archaeology senses that kick in?
I've known archaeologists, if they know an area really well, I'll be out surveying with them and they'll say, point at a hilltop or something and say, there's going to be a site there. And by golly, there's always a site there, pretty much. It's fascinating. That's the best I've got. What about you, Anne?
Oh man, nothing incredibly exciting. I don't know. When I've been excavating units a lot, I can pretty much excavate them in 10-centimeter levels without measuring. That's about as magical as I get.
To an archaeologist, that's pretty magical.
Yeah, I have to be doing them for a while, like a couple of weeks. If
Sure.
I've just been excavating units straight, I'll measure to check, but it's always right on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I've managed, but I don't do regularly, so it definitely counts then, I'd say.
Yeah, and no one else would find that exciting, but archaeologists are like, oh yeah, that's awesome.
Right. or to be able to tell a Munsell soil color just by looking at it.
That's always great too. Yeah, I love being right about the soil color, like knowing exactly what it's gonna be. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
there.
there's
Oh.
water down there. I'm sure she's fine.
Yeah, she's cool.
That did not go well at all. For her. Sorry. So you guys haven't had to do any rock climbing yet, really? Just rock shelters.
I haven't scaled walls like this, no.
No, I did out west. I did have a small cliff that I was like, oh, it's just easier just to kind of go up it. You know, it's about as tall as I was. So I'll just go up it instead of go around it. And I put my hand on the rock, and about that time I saw a baby rattlesnake coming down right at my hand.
Oh.
And then I went around the wall. So
Yeah.
when you mentioned snakes in the rocks and things, you're absolutely right, because they love that area.
Yeah, I had a similar issue with climbing up a cut bank because I have crossed rivers or creeks and just climbed up cut bank, climbed down and up cut banks. And so every once in a while, you'll just come face to face with a snake right in the cut bank.
Yeah.
Got to get inside.
Well, so far we haven't had to deal with any snakes or scorpions. Just a helicopter shooting at us.
Well, they were probably shooting at that scorpion, so
Yeah,
probably it's a
they were-
scorpion.
They were just shooting the scorpion.
Yeah, you was in the way.
Yeah,
Now she's destroying the site.
yeah. I mean, how else is she supposed to get to the other side? Come on.
Or just not.
One time I had a snake fall into my unit with me
Oh,
man.
no. What kind of snake was it?
from a tree. Yeah, it was just a little green tree snake, but still, it's a little
Yeah.
scratch.
Yeah, I bet you were out of that unit pretty quick.
Yeah, I didn't hang out too long. I got out and got it
Yeah, I would have been.
out.
I'm going to guess that I'm supposed to jump across and
Right.
grab onto that, you think?
There's a to the right a bit more. There's a ledge down there. Nope, too far.
Right
There.
there?
Yeah, that's
Right
what I
there.
say.
So you're saying I should jump it?
Yes.
All right. Do it. Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, that was a pretty, sizable fall, but
Yeah.
whatever.
She's had worse.
She, as you can see, she's got more and more bloodied up.
Yeah, all these things she's stealing and destroying, it might be just because of that concussion she's clearly got.
Yeah. She took a pretty big hit to the head. That's for sure. All right. Well, I'm just going to keep on going.
The Order of Trinity
Oh.
pursued the Prophet and his people relentlessly until finally.
What's she listening to?
I think it's the recording of her dad, I think.
Oh, she's kind of remembering the recording.
Yeah, I think her dad was doing research and she's trying to find her. Oh, there you go, scorpion.
Yep. Watch
Oh.
out for the
Oh.
watch out for the helicopter.
Shoot, I didn't know I could do that. Okay.
Good to
Yeah,
know
I'll Put that
now.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never carried a gun in the field.
No, yeah, have neither of y'all have done that? I haven't.
Mm.
No, but I do know an archaeologist who has worked with people who have had to carry guns out in Alaska.
Mhm.
I was
I
just
guess-
about to say that too. Yeah, the only place I've heard about it is Alaska.
Right.
Yeah, and it's because of bears, is from what I understand. They're
Right. But
grizzly
what
bears.
about the Everglades? Come on.
Right.
It's true. I'm surprised that you didn't have a gun out in the Everglades. It seems
We should have,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
at least like bear spray or like snake spray, whatever. they have
Alligator
out
spray.
Gators.
Alligator,
Yeah,
gator,
the black
yeah.
bears aren't very aggressive. There was a black bear that just we came up on him and it just jumped in the canal to get away from us. But
Yeah. Just watch out for cubs, really.
yeah,
For the
it could
most
always
part.
happen.
Yeah.
Looks like she's finding more artifacts. This is an amazing site, and she's
Yeah.
like, she doesn't even care. She's
No.
like, whatever.
If any of us were there, we would just be awestruck.
This would be a career. This would be several careers.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's made it, but she's not going to tell anybody.
Barbara pointed out that Everglades is also a national park, and she's not sure you're even allowed to have guns out there.
Okay.
Yeah, that might be the reason. I think there was some reason why we couldn't.
I wonder why that is. Maybe because of poaching. Is that why? And also, Oh,
Jump scare.
yep. We didn't scream that time.
We didn't. Not as scary as Nancy Drew.
No. Oh, get away, Scorpion. I guess they're. Oh.
They're big ones. They're probably not too poisonous.
So yeah,
Oh, and into the
wow.
mouth. Nice touch.
Of course, yeah. I think that happened in was it Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Was it? Yeah, yeah, it did. I think I've seen it maybe even a couple places, like The Mummy or something, too.
Well, this is definitely some type of burial chamber. You were right, Tristan. Good.
I don't think this is. I don't think this is burial here. These
Oh,
don't-
wow.
The
What
prophets.
about over there?
Order of Trinity.
Yeah, I guess you're right. These guys look like they've.
Like they hold themselves up and then died inside or something.
Yeah, this
Like
guy.
like a siege or something almost.
Uh-huh. This guy
Um,
definitely. That didn't happen on accident.
No, and he didn't do that himself either.
No. All right, I'm gonna keep on. Oh, oh, there's booby. Okay, so have you guys ever had to deal with booby traps? I just destroyed the.
That was archaeology too, Mike.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. No booby traps.
No booby traps for me
No.
that I remember.
No, I don't. I can't think of any booby traps.
One
So-
time I was hiking for a project. I was on a survey, and a small boulder really did roll down the
Oh
side
wow.
of like a big. I guess it was like a small. I was kind of down by a creek, and so this boulder tumbled down the side of this mountain. It came straight at me. Like I had to do the whole thing where I had to wait until the last minute to move out of the way because it was like bouncing around.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell which way it was going to go. Yeah,
That's amazing.
That would have taken me out for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first time I've ever heard an archaeologist who's actually experienced that. So
Yeah, it
Congratulations.
happened.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Too bad you don't have like footage of it.
yeah,
I know. Yeah. At the time, I was just terrified that I was not going to have a leg anymore.
Right. Yeah. Understandable.
yeah.
I think for now on though, you should carry a GoPro around. Like wherever
You're
you
right. I should have gotten that one on film.
go. Just for the next boulder that comes.
The next boulder, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess now maybe I can reach this thing. Or not.
Nothing.
No.
Can't use your. Can you swim through the hole?
Oh, I think I can go under. Okay. Now we're doing underwater archaeology
Yeah.
Woo.
or booting. Does New South? Do you all have like an underwater?
We do not.
It's pretty highly specialized. Lots
Yeah,
of
it
lots
is.
of expensive equipment and very highly trained people I know too.
Mhm.
Yes. We have several staff members who were trained in it, but
Oh, really?
yeah, but we do not offer it. Not yet, anyway. Maybe
Yeah.
one.
I mean, you guys do so much already. You know what I mean?
Right.
We do.
What more do you need?
you?
Well, any ideas?
Can you use your pick thing on the to grab
I'll
the
try.
wood? I don't
That's
know
what
if
I
that's
was
even an
trying.
option.
I was trying to do that. It doesn't seem like I can. I guess I'll just swim around
Yeah,
in just dirty water.
go towards the light there. Yeah, maybe that's
Okay.
You're drowning.
Okay.
Oh, that was close.
Well, at least it let me come up before that happened.
Yeah, I don't think you're gaining your health back though.
Oh, really? Oh, man. We should have made it.
No,
put it on
maybe you
easy.
are. It's not. Well, it's still blood splattered, but it's not gray, so I don't know.
Right. Well, I think you're right. I think somehow we got to get up
You could
there.
shoot the. Oh, can you get on the platform and pull out your gun? Because there's that box above it.
Right.
You got to shoot that box. I bet.
What platform? Up there?
I don't know. You can stand on something.
Oh, wait.
Maybe
Oh,
that's
there
one.
we go.
There you go.
Okay. Let's see how good my aim is. There we go.
Hey.
Tristan is the best at the puzzles. He like always figures out the puzzles.
there's a certain kind of logic that they use all the time, and it's once you get a feel for that, sometimes it's easier. At least for
Right.
me.
Well, now what?
Can't get on it.
Oh, yeah, I can. I just
Oh, there
gotta
you
hit the
go.
right- I got to hit the right button. All right, we're going to go up here. And well, I think, this does look like tomb, though. Because I think before we got into this area, there were some, it looked like some burials on the other side that weren't just like, people who had gotten killed in a battle. So have you ever had to deal with burials?
I've done a cemetery removal before. And I've also actually in the Everglades, in a shovel test, I found a human remain.
Oh, wow.
Which is very unusual for anyone who's, yeah, it's highly unusual. But yes, I found a human skull fragment in a shovel test. So, but I have done, which we of course just and recorded. But so yes, I've done a cemetery removal, and those can be really tough work, and they're challenging projects. I did one in near Nashville, Tennessee. Have y'all worked with human remains at all?
I have not. I've only ever had situations where we've had human remains dropped off, like in a box of random artifacts,
Okay.
which was terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, not actual, not on the site or anything.
Yeah, I've done some cemetery work, but we were just trying to locate grave sites. So as soon as we came across the clear shaft of the burial or any nails or anything, we stopped essentially, and we didn't actually want to uncover the remains.
Yeah. So Anne, can you talk a little bit about, since you've had to deal with that, what's the sort of protocols for when human remains are uncovered?
So if they are uncovered and you're not expecting them, like it's one thing if you're doing a cemetery removal, and in that case, you've gone through all of the proper channels to be doing that. But if you just happen to uncover human remains, well, in most cases, you need to first call the coroner, so because you don't know how old they are.
Right. Yeah.
For sure. So you report it legally, to the county, and then there oftentimes, someone needs to identify it. I can ID it and I can be pretty sure it's human remains, but usually we get someone who specializes in that to really be sure and to identify if it is historic or if it might be recent, and there needs to be some type of police investigation.
Right.
So and then at that point, it normally the project would be put on hold until the proper parties can be consulted with, which would be any tribes that maybe are have some involvement, and it's related to their ancestry, or whoever might have be an interested party, would need to be consulted with, and then oftentimes, it just depends. Sometimes the project will be shut down completely if human remains are involved, because they need to be respected and left in place.
Right. And there are laws that protect human remains.
Correct. Yes. So there's Nagpra, which a lot of people are probably not familiar with. Nagpra is the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, and it was enacted in 1996, correct?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Sounds
yeah,
right.
I think it was 96.
Yeah, so that provides some legal backbone to tribes who have in the past often had their ancestors' remains not be treated as they should, and so it gets them involved and empowers them to have control over what happens.
Yeah, I think you're right. A lot of people aren't aware of both state and federal laws that protect human remains, and so archaeologists don't just go out, digging up graves without there being a really good reason to do that.
Exactly. Yes, most of the time you want to avoid those, and if they absolutely can't be avoided, then they're excavated with the utmost care and respect and re-interned at a designated location.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm supposed to. Oh, go ahead, Tristan.
I was going to say, does what you're allowed to do? Can you tell us if it varies based on what tribes you're working with and that kind of thing, or have you experienced any of that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Is it very...
So I think some tribes have different requirements for how they want remains treated.
Mm-hmm.
Have you experienced any variation in the procedure based off of that, or do you know anything? Can you tell us anything about that?
That's a good question. I personally have not dealt with it at that level, where I've seen variation. Generally, from my experiences, they want them to be left. I mean, almost that's always the preference.
Mm-hmm.
And my experience is that the tribes want the graves and the grave goods, not just human remains, but any artifacts associated with the human remains, because those are, in their mind, just as important and sacred as the human remains in a lot of ways. So they would want them to be left untouched. And often, you know, some people have the question of, you know, well, what if like that area is naturally going to be washed out, or if it's going to be flooded? Well, then if that's naturally what's going to happen, they usually want it to happen. You know, they want it to be excavated and moved, even if it's going to be destroyed through some natural event. They would rather it, you know, whatever naturally is going to happen, which is kind of counterintuitive to what archaeologists look at, because we're focused really on preservation so much of the time. If something's going to be destroyed, we want to excavate it to learn as much as possible before it's going to be destroyed. But you know, they're coming at it from a different perspective, and I think that's really interesting, and it's an important thing for us to understand and to honor.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Well, I know I'm supposed to interact with this, and I'm sure water will come rushing out, but we've hit our hour mark with this program, so I think this is a good place to maybe wrap it up. What did you guys think about this game? Tristan, we'll start with you.
I think it was pretty typical Lara Croft from what I was seeing. Stealing some artifacts, destroying some temples, you know, pretty good. in a not very good at all kind of way. But,
right. Good, bad.
Yeah.
And Anne, how about you? Is this? I know you're not like a gamer, so is this your first Lara Croft game that you've seen or played?
It is. So this is all new to me, and this has been entertaining. You know, when I think about Lara Croft, I just see like Angelina Jolie. So
yeah, all right, me too. Yeah,
it's interesting to see their portrayal of her here, and you know, her adventures and everything. It's interesting. If anything, it does bring up some good talking points, like with the looting and the lack of documentation. You know, she's in a lot of ways exemplifying what we don't do.
Right.
which is interesting too.
So and we've talked a little bit about, you know, her tank top and how she's, you know, not, you know, with the right equipment. What's the one piece of equipment that if you had to give her to be a proper archaeologist, what would it be? Anne, we'll start with you.
I would say, I mean, she needs something to document with, whether it's, I mean, these days I would give her an iPad that has a lot of different functionality where she can take notes, she can take photographs, she can, you know, record things, hopefully with a you know, mapping application on it. That's probably what I would give her.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. That's kind of covers most of the bases. Definitely better than a gun, I guess.
Right.
Maybe the gun for the, you know, shooting down your platform and
right.
Like that.
Yeah, I guess it has come in pretty handy, but then again, we shouldn't have ever been in this situation.
Right.
Either, so.
You shouldn't shoot the artifacts.
You should not shoot the artifacts, and don't loot.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you again, Anne, for taking time to play this game with us. And definitely we'll put up a link to New South Associates website and all the other cool stuff you have online. And then for anybody that's watching this live, we will put this up on our YouTube channel, and you can check out all the other episodes that we have on our Florida Public Archaeology Network YouTube channel. If you just type in Florida Public Archaeology Network in the YouTube search, we should come up. We always appreciate any likes or subscribes. And if you've got any advice or comments, or if you think we should play a certain game that would work great for this format, please let us know. And then also, if you're an archaeologist and you're interested in coming on, we're always looking for new guests. So let us know in the comments down when we post this video. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.